Attention passionate Washington Commanders fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Washington Commanders' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Washington Commanders fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with YOUR, FRINDS, and Washington Commanders FANS. Let's get to the news now, folks. What if I told you that the Washington Commanders are at the center of some serious NFL buzz right now? You see, there are whispers, rumors swirling around that could completely shake up the NFC East and reshape the Commanders' future for years to come. And no, I'm not talking about some minor trade or a draft pick here and there. We're talking about a potential blockbuster move that could see the Commanders landing one of the biggest wide receivers in the league, Ja'Marr Chase from the Cincinnati Bengals. This isn't just speculation. It's a scenario that insiders are now taking seriously, and it's got the entire NFL community talking. Imagine a world where Chase, with his explosive playmaking ability, becomes a Washington Commander. The fan base would go wild. The potential is enormous. And here's what's fueling the rumors. The Bengals are reportedly open to trading Chase as part of a rebuild, especially after a tough season that saw them stumble to a 3-6 record following Joe Burrow's injury in Week 4. Burrow's injury obviously threw a wrench into Cincinnati's plans, and their front office is now looking to reset. They're prioritizing cap space and youth, especially on the offensive line, which has been a concern for them all season. With a projected cap hit of around $12 million and a top 10 pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Bengals could see a trade involving Chase as a smart move to free up cap space and acquire draft capital for a rebuild. Now, let's really get into what Chase has been doing this season because it's pretty phenomenal. In just 9 games, he's already amassed 831 receiving yards. That's an eye-popping 92. 3 yards per game, which is second in the league. Not only that, but Chase has scored 5 touchdowns, and his advanced stats are equally impressive. His PFF grade for 2025 sits at an 87. 3, which is excellent. He's catching 62% of contested targets, a very solid mark, and his deep target share is 28%. What that tells us is that Chase isn't just a possession receiver. He's a true big play threat down the field. His yards per route run stand at an impressive 5.2, meaning he's constantly creating separation and making life difficult for defenders. All these numbers point toward a player who is not only talented, but also highly productive and a game changer. And let's not forget about his career stats. Over 471 receptions for more than 6, 250 yards and 51 touchdowns. He's been selected to 4 Pro Bowls already, and he's known for his ability to stretch the field with long catches, including 18 touchdowns over 40 yards. Chase's explosiveness and YAC, yards after catch, ability make him one of the most dangerous weapons in the league when healthy, and that's exactly what the Commanders could use to elevate their offense. So why would the Bengals consider trading Chase? Well, for starters, Cincinnati is trying to rebuild with a focus on their offensive line, especially after extending their key players, which has left them with a significant $161 million in cap space tied up elsewhere. They're also concerned about their defense, which is giving up about 27 points per game, pretty high for a team with playoff aspirations. Moving Chase could help them free up cap space and focus on developing their young receivers and linemen, making them more competitive in the coming seasons. But that's where things get exciting for Washington fans. If Chase ends up in DC, he could instantly transform the Commanders' offense. Think about it, a dynamic quarterback like Taylor Heinicke or even an upgraded signal caller could feed Chase those deep balls and high-percentage throws, turning him into a true MVP candidate. Projections show that Chase could rack up over 200 yards in his first season with Washington, with his big play ability making him a threat to break off huge gains every single game. His average yards per catch could increase from about 11 to 16, and he could become the focal point of the offense, especially after the recent injury to Jahan Dotson. With Chase stretching defenses vertically, Terry McLaurin would have even more room to operate in the slot and mismatches, creating an offense that's explosive and unpredictable. Exactly what Washington needs to get back into the Super Bowl conversation. And speaking of the bigger picture, this move would not only elevate the attack, but also drastically improve the team's chances of making a deep playoff run. The odds of winning the Super Bowl would skyrocket, going from astronomical at +50, 0 to much more realistic at around +80. That's a huge jump, and it's reminiscent of what we saw with Tyreek Hill joining the Miami Dolphins in 2023. Hill's addition was a game changer, boosting the Dolphins, scoring by an extra 10% and transforming them into real contenders. Chase, with his ability to take over games, could have a similar impact on Washington. His presence would be an X-factor in January, giving the Commanders a real shot at making noise when it matters most. Now the fans are probably wondering, what's the catch? Well, of course, there are always complexities in these trades. The Bengals would want a premium package, and the Commanders would need to be willing to part with their top draft picks, including a first-round selection in 2026 and another in 2027. But for a player of Chase's caliber, that might be a price worth paying. Plus, Washington has the assets, both in draft capital and young talent, to make a compelling offer. This could be the kind of move that not only changes the course of this season, but also sets the franchise up for a decade of success. And let's talk about the bigger impact: Chase as the centerpiece of the Commanders' offense. His arrival would symbolize a commitment to winning now, a statement that Washington is serious about competing at the highest level. It would also send a message to the rest of the league. The Commanders are not just building for the future. They're here to contend, and they're willing to go all in to do it. Chase's presence would elevate the entire team, giving young players like Jahan Dotson and others a chance to learn from one of the best in the league. It would ignite the fan base, creating a buzz that's been missing for years. Of course, all of this hinges on a series of negotiations and the Bengals' willingness to trade Chase. But with the season unfolding and Cincinnati seemingly in rebuild mode, it's not out of the realm of possibility. The NFL offseason is always full of surprises, and this year looks like it could be one of the most exciting yet for Washington fans. We've seen teams make bold moves before, and this could be the year Washington pulls off one of the biggest trades in recent franchise history. Imagine the headlines, the hype, and the immediate impact on the field. It's the kind of move that could define a franchise and turn the tide in the NFC East. And now, Washington Commanders fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Do you think Chase would be the perfect fit for the team? Would you be willing to see the Commanders give up those top draft picks for a chance at superstardom? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the future of the franchise. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates and analysis, so stay tuned for the latest Washington Commanders news. This offseason could be one of the most exciting chapters in the team's history, and you're right here with us, part of the most passionate fan base in the NFL. Remember, the NFL is always unpredictable, and the moves that make the biggest impact often happen when we least expect. But one thing is for sure, if Washington pulls off this Chase deal, it could be the start of a new era of dominance, a resurgence that fans have been dreaming about for years. A true game changer, a player who can elevate the entire team, and a move that could finally push the Commanders into genuine Super Bowl contention. That's what's on the table right now, and it's a story that's just beginning to unfold. So keep your eyes peeled, stay loud, and let's hope that the next chapter in Washington Commanders history is written with boldness and vision. Because if Chase joins the squad, everything changes, and the future looks brighter than ever.